Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the show. My name is Jack Chow on the East West Show with G&E TV. For the last few days, you noticed that we spent quite a lot of time in the discussion about what's happening in the small town of Ferguson, of Missouri, the Show Me State. We're trying to show you what's happening and what had happening. And well, we probably want to go deeper into the incident itself and the consequences and the stories and the remake of the stories and the remake of the stories, plus the autopsy findings, so on and so forth. So joining me are two wonderful ladies. They are mother and daughter. Problem is that you can't tell which is mother, which is daughter.
Oh.
They look same young to me, same beautiful to me.
Oh, thank you.
And to my left is the daughter, Sabrina Young. She is a student of political science at the Stafford University of Boston.
Yes, Boston, Massachusetts.
And the political science, see that? Okay. Not lots of young people do that these days, right? And to my right is the mother, Jennifer. She is in my eye, she is a philanthropic. She does lots of charity work, and she has donated her time and money quite a great bit to the great cause, to helping people, to those who are in need of help. So today, in one more step deeper, going into the analysis of what's happened there, we would like to find out what is exactly in the young minds of my good friend, new friend, Sabrina. So Sabrina, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm
Happy
so
to be
flattered.
here.
I have all kinds of people here, but you know, to have somebody as young as you are is my first time. And especially every time, even if there is young people, we're talking about music, we're talking about dances.
Yes.
And this first time, I promise my audience can testify, this is the first time talking about the politics with young people. So special welcome to you.
Thank you.
All right. What is your overall understanding about what had happened and what is happening?
Well, my overall understanding is generally from news sources on the internet, because currently there was a media blackout in Ferguson for a couple of days in which the Ferguson police were shoving reporters out of the city. So
The arrest of you.
there are a lot of people who have been reporting what's going on just on Twitter and on Facebook, just posting as much information as they can. And there was actually a Washington Post reporter who was arrested in Ferguson, and I've been following his Twitter feed, and that's how I've been getting most of my information. He was arrested in Ferguson, and he has been released, but the fact that he was even arrested at all is horrifying.
All right.
So basically what happened is that a 17-year-old black boy, Michael Brown, was shot under very ambiguous circumstances. Currently, the police report has changed a total of 2 times, I believe. The first story was that Michael Brown had stolen a candy bar from a store and was running from it. The second story I heard was that he was wresting a gun away from a police officer. The third story I heard, which is the most recent one, is that he was stealing cigars from the store.
You talking about Hollywood or what?
No, I'm literally talking about what the police have been saying in Ferguson.
Okay, anyway,
I'm sorry.
I might be confused because, you know, I thought you were talking about Hollywood with the stories like that.
Absolutely not. It's insane. Like, you would think that this is some kind of post-apocalyptic movie that Hollywood would put out. But no,
exactly.
it's real life, and it's
It's real
currently
life,
happening
okay.
right now in the United States of America. People who have been under attack in Gaza and all the Palestinians who have been under attack have been sending information via Twitter to people in Ferguson saying, this is how you protect yourself from tear gas. Because that's what's being used against the citizens and the protesters. It's so completely horrifying to me.
And the last time I recall talking about American freedom when we were looking for reasons why we create the war against Iraq, people say we want to introduce our freedom to them. And this is the kind of freedom we're talking about, right?
Yes, but
Okay,
that
very
freedom
good.
isn't even something that we have
Convincing enough.
here. Because the First Amendment gives you 5 freedoms: the freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom of assemble, and freedom to choose who you associate yourself with. And currently, at the very least, 3 of those freedoms were being blocked in Ferguson. The freedom of the press, because the Ferguson Police Department was tear gassing the press out of the city. Freedom to assemble, because they're trying to break up the protests.
They get you arrested.
Yeah. Breaking up the protests and arresting protesters and tear gassing protesters. And then there's also freedom of speech, because they should have the ability to say that, yes, there is someone responsible for the death of Michael Brown, and he needs to be taken to justice. He needs to be prosecuted for the crime he has committed.
To Jennifer,
Yes.
are you surprised to hear a comment like that from an 18-year-old? I know you're proud about your daughter, but I'm more surprised than being proud. Of course, I'm being proud for having a new friend like her quality, but as a mother, you know, you must have done a great job raising her up.
Oh, thank you for that comment. I like it. However, I'm doing my best. What I was really touched the last Saturday morning when she came back from visiting her sister from DC back to Long Beach, we picked her up. Then she started to talk about this event, and she cried because a young life was gone.
God.
Just
God.
in such an environment in the country like this. So what I was more touched is that the government system seemed like during those days, didn't function right. The reason who should take immediate action to make an investigation or to explain to the people and let the world know what happened.
Sure.
But nobody. Then I asked her, so sweetheart, what do you think you will do about this? And the system seems is out of function. Then she said, that's what I'm studying for, working for. And in the future, she kind of was dedicated herself to the country's better. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for that analysis. And speaking of the future, though, it is almost the first time, like this morning when I was preparing the show, when I heard about Sabrina coming here to make her statement, I was so shocked to the discovery. I seem to be all of a sudden realizing, oh my God, in the future, they are the ones on Earth. They are the ones playing on the big stage. So we're going to be obsolete, or we don't even going to be existing anymore. So putting the world in the hands like these youngsters, posterities will take over about our future, our society. For that part, I feel so much at ease. So this is my comment. Be you right, be you wrong, but to take it on the elevation of a political science. And she even mentioned about the wars, and we even mentioned about the Gaza situations, Gaza Strip, something like that. And that really is a good start to look into the future. I know posterity does hold our future in there, right? So to get to the point though, I know at the time of, for example, time of Big Bang, that starts the universe, we do not know what happened. We are still learning to discover, we are still discovering it that very moment by later on seeing evidences.
Yes.
Right? For example, we look into some kind of spectrum, we look at the light, and that's supposed to be traveled about 137 million years ago. And that carries the, oh yeah, there's nitrogen there, there's oxygen there, there's whatever there, right? So by analysis. Now to that moment, as to what happened, that very moment when the young guy, 18 years old, was killed.
He was 17.
17. He was 17, killed. Nobody know what happened. So what we can do, we can hold on to, is the spectrum.
Yes.
The spectrum being the autopsy report, and what the police say, and what the witness say. So what contradiction do you find in between, in a mom?
Like I said earlier, the Ferguson Police Department has changed its story a couple of times already. So I'm highly inclined to believe that they're either lying or covering something up. At this moment, the eyewitnesses are currently more credible than the police department because their story has not changed. Every eyewitness interviewed that saw what happened to Michael Brown had the same story. Interviewed separately when they hadn't had the chance to talk with each other, had the same story. However, the police department has now been changed
Let's take
twice.
a moment out. It looks like that we want to go in a more systematic way to stretch it out. Let's take a short break. Continue. Shall we, please? All right, good.
Okay.